Full Force 2022. I'm here with Chase of Gatecreeper. Hey Chase, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You played your show, I guess, an hour ago. How was it?
It was good.
Yeah, it was your first time Full Force, right?
Yep.
Yeah, how was the crowd?
It was good.
Yeah, they are anticipating your appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So it's, I guess, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's your first time mainland EU, I guess.
We came to Germany and Europe about 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
But this is our first time for all the outdoor festivals.
The bigger festivals. I mean, it was a club shows you did back then. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's your first. Okay, then your major. I would say major first tour in the mainland UA. So, what's your impressions so far?
It's really cool. I mean, we definitely would have came earlier, but everything was shut down when we were ready to come back. So I think that we were anticipating coming, and people were anticipating seeing us. So everything's been cool for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So, like you said, you would be normally been earlier here. You should be. Wait, the first tour which you are now returning to Europe late this year with Creator and Lamb of God should be scheduled for 2020, I think. Creator, Lamb of God, and Power Trip. You're filling in for the guys in Power Trip, and together with that is Murder. Do you have any anticipation for that tour? I mean, you are touring with probably one or two of the biggest heavier metal bands of the world, like Creator and Lamb of God.
I mean, we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge tour, especially here in Europe.
Yeah.
Lamb of God they play huge shows, but I've heard that they play even bigger shows over here.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be the biggest shows that we've played in Europe and probably anywhere in the world. So we're excited for it, for sure.
Yeah, cool. So you guys started in 2013, I think, and probably that's in my point of view, this was still a time of where deathcore and all this, I would say, more core influenced music was on a hype, on its peak. So what was your intention, I mean, if there was any intention, to start more the traditional style of death metal and heavy music?
I mean, that's just the type of music that we've liked and we've gotten into. I got into heavy music and got into death metal and more extreme music, and I kind of went down the path of some of the older, more classic death metal bands. So I liked that type of music for a long time before I started the band. Before I found other people that wanted to do that. There had been bands that had done it before us that were kind of recalling the old sounds. Like a new wave of old school death metal bands. So right around the time that we started, there was some more new bands that were starting, and I think it was a good time where people were starting to revisit that type of music, or that it became, people were starting to check it out for the first time. Younger people,
sure.
People from different types of music scenes were all kind of interested in this at the time. So I think that when we started, it was a perfect time for us to get started.
I would say in my time when I just went through this whole genre of traditional death metal, even the new wave of it, you have a really deep connection out to the hardcore scene, like stuff. They are sharing almost the same underground public the same underground. Like if you talk about Hate 56, the Sonny is a great guy who does a lot of live shows. He always has a lot of hardcore shows, but also a lot of death metal shows right now. So would you say that hardcore and death metal, traditional death metal, and new wave of traditional death metal would be like a symbiotic relationship to each other?
Yeah. I mean, it goes into, again, like when we started playing shows, started touring, it seemed like a lot of people from the hardcore scene, hardcore world, started to be more interested in death metal. So we kind of fit right in there. And also where we come from, in Arizona, it's not a big enough scene where the things are separated. If you like heavy music, you go to hardcore shows, you go to metal shows, you go to punk shows. So that's how we kind of entered into that path, is that we would just play with whatever touring bands were coming through. And we like hardcore too, so it's creeped into our sound a little bit, and also we'll play with those bands. We toured with hardcore bands.
Yeah.
You know, we've put out a record, a couple of records actually on Closed Casket Activities, which is mostly hardcore. So we played some of the hardcore festivals. So we want to play to whoever wants to see us.
Yeah, sure. So there was a bit of a rattle on Twitter a while back with Chris Barnes, formerly known for Cannibal Corpse and now 6 Feet Under, who said he doesn't want to listen to any new death metal. How do you feel about this whole shenanigans of his?
I thought it was pretty funny. It was because it was sparked by an interview that I did with Corpse Grinder.
Yeah, you were part of the podcast, right? Yeah. So
it was in reply to that.
Yeah.
So he didn't like mention us directly, but it was kind of, you know, a lot of us and a lot of other people thought, you know, it's kind of like directed at us and whatever the new batch of bands are. Yeah. We thought it was kind of funny. Like we like 6 Feet Under. That's the thing. Yeah. And like we were on tour when that happened. We listened to 6 Feet Under in the van. Yeah. Sometimes ironically because some of it is bad, but we actually like.
Sure.
And we've toured with Cannibal Corpse before, so it's like they have their own kind of rivalry, I guess, from him being in the band and not. And we thought it was funny. You know, like we made jokes about it. I think at first it stings a little bit, but then. I don't know. It was just.
You do a thing, and it's. Okay.
It was a funny situation.
Yeah. I mean, he even got called out by Jamie Jesser of Hatebreed for his podcast, and he didn't want to contribute to that statements he did. So, I guess it's something you can throw away and just be okay with it after it. Yeah, sure. While we're talking about new wave of traditional heavy metal, traditional death metal. I'm sorry. Apparently, but. Also, in my point of view, there's a lot of, I would say, music has to get a more message in it. Like, especially the underground scene is really vocal about civil rights movements, about self-reclamation and stuff and all this. Do you think that death metal in its traditions, which are more like, I would say, a very graphic genre with its lyrics and probably not so on the nose with it, does traditional heavy death metal need any message to contribute?
I mean, in my opinion, I don't think it needs to, but I think that there's definitely a place for it if that's what you want to do. I mean, there's a wide range of death metal, or I think more on the grind side of it.
Sure.
Napalm Death, or whatever. But even Carcass was
huge.
Political, animal rights and stuff like that. So, I mean, for our own band, I always try to keep, we don't have the typical, for the most part, typical death metal imagery, which a lot of times can be kind of misogynistic or whatever it is. We don't really have that sort of stuff, and everything is just pretty simple. Yeah. And as far as the band, like I kind of let everybody speak for themselves individually. Yeah, sure. As far as our message as the band, whether it's on social media or things that we say, like I kind of keep it pretty dry and let everybody in their band, in our band, we're individual people. We have our own, of course. We have our own opinions and whatever, and I try to keep it to that, where everybody can say what they want on their own.
Cool. Thank you. So, Deserted was your last long player in 2019. Yeah. Will there be any new output from you, like a long player in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been working on to do next. Yeah. And we signed a Nuclear Blast, so we'll be coming out Nuclear Blast.
Yeah, of course.
And we've just been trying to tour as much as we can this year because we weren't able to for a couple years.
Yeah, of course.
We were barely even able to tour on Deserted. So we're kind of making up for that. We ended up doing a new record when we couldn't tour. So we've just been touring like crazy this year. Yeah, and then of course. Next year we're really gonna. We've been writing, but we're gonna buckle down next year and hopefully get it recorded. And maybe it may or may not come out next year, but hopefully we'll get it finished by next year. Cool.
All right. Thank you for your time, Chase. I hope you have a great rest of the tour, and I hope to see you again in later that year with Creator and Lamb of God.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.